Utah Jazz. Both Houston and Utah had a tough time getting here to the Western Conference Finals. First of all, Phoenix proved to be a very difficult foe for Houston as they won the first 2 games in that series right here. And for Utah, they won the first 3 against pesky young Denver, then had to go all the way to 7 games. Let's start with the Houston Rockets. Houston, obviously, Akeem Olajuwon, but a lot more to the team.
Bob, this is a team that is very good defensively, 5th in the NBA. Coming out of the series with Phoenix, they held them under 100 points 4 times. That was the #1 scoring team in the NBA. What are the stories, though, of their team? The non-trade of Robert Horry. He's been sensational in the playoffs. And then you talk about the play off the bench, the rookies, Sam Cassell and Mario Elie. Those 2 guys have been great. Sam Cassell coming off one of the better games he's ever played, 22 points and 7 assists in Game 7, the deciding game against Phoenix.
They talk about marquee players. If you add Akeem Olajuwon to Karl Malone and John Stockton, 3 of the first 5 of the first team in the NBA are playing here tonight. So we know Malone and Stockton. Also more to the Utah Jazz.
Well, you talk about the trade of Jeff Hornacek. He's given them a consistent, reliable outside shooter, along with Jay Humphries, an excellent 3-guard rotation. I think tonight, though, the keys and in the series are going to be the play of Tyrone Corbin and David Benoit off the bench at the small forward position. Benoit will start tonight against the bigger Robert Horry. That will bring Corbin off the bench to match up against Mario Elie.
As I said, both teams went 7 games. They have to be a little bit tired. What would you say is an early key?
Pace of the game for Utah, very important. They're a jump shot away from sweeping Denver. That 1 shot cost him 3 extra games and 8 days rest. I think fatigue will be a factor. Look for Houston to try to jump on them quickly in the first quarter, get this crowd into the game.
The Dream and the Mailman at the Summit in Houston. They'll tip it off in just a moment after these commercial messages. Doug Collins and I'll be back here with a sellout crowd at the Summit. Bob Neal, Doug Collins with you at the Summit in Houston, Texas. When the series with Phoenix started, the players and the fans here in Houston definitely had a riff in their marriage. They've been to counseling, couples counseling, and I understand they've healed it all back up and they're in love again. We'll see how they are after they face the Utah Jazz. And here are the Chrysler Plymouth starting lineups.
Bob, the one matchup, we obviously Otis Thorpe and Karl Malone, very important. Now remember, Otis Thorpe coming off a hip pointer, Carl Herrera out with a shoulder dislocation, so that'll mean Earl Church will probably have to play some minutes in that position. And in this matchup right here with Hornacek and Maxwell, those 2 players, both explosive shooters. Maxwell has the ability to shoot you in the game. He can also shoot you out.
Jerry Sloan, who shows poise and patience, the characteristic loosened tie, and another man who is really building a reputation as a big-time coach in the NBA, Rudy Tomjanovich. 13-10 in the playoffs. He took a Houston team that was 0-2 to Phoenix after losing 2 here at home, helped them retain their composure and eventually eliminate Phoenix. There's David Benoit, who will be starting in place of Tyrone Corbin tonight against Akeem Olajuwon, the leading scorer in the playoffs in the NBA at 30.6 per game. Maxwell, will he be Mad Max or will he play under control? Nobody knows, including him probably. Mike Mathis, Hugh Hollins, and Ron Garretson, the officials. Felton Spencer out of Louisville will jump at center and play against the Dream. Otis Thorpe for the ball. Otis Thorpe playing with a sore, bruised hip that he picked up in Game 5 against the Phoenix Suns.
Let's read the double teams now on Olajuwon if the ball goes into Akeem.
Well, Kenny Smith right away with the perimeter shot, the rebound by Karl Malone. John Stockton defended by Kenny Smith.
Now you're going to see Stockton with the basketball most of the night. He's going to handle the ball and he's going to look to make all the entry passes to Karl Malone in the post.
Illegal defense called by Hugh Holland very early in this game. Only 30 seconds elapsed.
See, both of these teams play a lot of screen roll, and they do a lot of posting up with either Olajuwon or Karl Malone. So you have to read about double teaming and how they're going to play screen roll. 2 important facets of the NBA game, specifically in the playoffs when you get down to half-court action.
2 good half-court teams, 2 defensive-minded coaches. There's Karl Malone trying to give it to the breaking John Stockton. 14 on the shot clock for the Jazz.
You know, the three-point shot should really be a factor tonight, too. Bob, when we look at it, Utah gives up more three-point shots than anybody in the NBA, and Houston takes more. So we'll have to see where that leads tonight.
Bad pass from Malone. Houston with the ball. Nobody has been able to score yet. Looking for Olajuwon in the post. The turnaround jumper.
Well, Felton Spencer says, why not? I've seen Mutombo, I've seen Robinson, why not Olajuwon? And if I win this series, it may be Patrick Ewing or Rick Smith. So I might as well see them all before I'm through.
Spencer, not really a shot blocker, but he does put a big body on you down there as he cleared the way for John Stockton. As you saw, Spencer posted out high, Stockton with the penetration. It's tied at 2.
Rockets go inside out, you double team, you kick out, and that's what you get at 3.
You can see it all night long. This is the leading three-point shooting team in the NBA.
Now, the opponents in the playoffs for Utah only shooting 30% from that three-point line, so they defend the three-point shot very well, even though they give up the most in the playoffs. So interesting that so many teams shoot so many against them, but yet the percentage is so low.
Otis Thorpe trying to play Karl Malone, who's really developed a perimeter game in the last couple of years to go with what already is one of the best post games in the NBA. Down to Olajuwon again as he puts it on the floor, stripped by Utah. It's 3 against 3. Benoit couldn't control it. Houston ball.
The Jazz will run on opportunity. They're not a team that's going to look to run all night long. They're only averaging 96 points a game in the playoffs, so obviously they're going to run into the half-court set, but on turnovers or block shots, they'll get out and push it.
Olajuwon almost lost it again as Stockton raked it away from him. 10 to shoot for the Rockets. Look at the moves by that 7-footer. Goes right, switches left, a near crossover dribble, and the jump shot. Olajuwon has 4.
We've talked about it so often, Bob, but the big-time scorers now in the low post also have to have a game where they can step out and shoot the ball because of all the double teams.
Now, Spencer's going to score there over anybody. Spencer's a big guy. He weighs about 275 pounds, and he will be putting a body whenever he can touch Olajuwon. There's another turnover. Stockton so quickly to the hoop, but he knew that a team was there, so he backs away for the 10-footer. And we have, after a slow start scoring-wise, a quick 15 points, and the Jazz lead it 8-7.
That's opportunity running again. You saw the turnover. Stockton will look to push it. If it's not there, he'll pull it back. That time he had numbers, and he hit the jump shot.
Vernon Maxwell faded away on that jumper, missing badly. Hornacek and Maxwell will be one of the matchups we'll be talking about. Maxwell definitely got the best of his matchup with Marley. How about matching up with Hornacek?
Well, Hornacek is going to give him a different look because he's going to come off more screens. Marley stayed out at the three-point line, so Hornacek's going to run him off picks, and Maxwell's got to be aware of that. He'll also shoot the 3.
Stockton missing. Olajuwon rebounding.
I would have to say Hornacek probably at this stage of his career a little quicker than Marley also, so the quickness won't be quite as noticeable was the difference in that other series.
We talked about the big body. Did you see Spencer step there as Thorpe tried to spin into the lane around Karl Malone? He stared Felton Spencer right in the face. You see Spencer's a bigger man than Olajuwon even. He's a little load.
Well, Thorpe in the post once again. You talked about Malone. He loves to strip guys going up. He runs into Felton Spencer and no place to go. Just miscommunication.
Robert Horry at 6'9" with the jam on the baseline.
Now this guy, Robert Horry, I think has been a real key of their team. The non-trade of him, he comes back. His attitude is good. He's shooting the three-point shot better than anybody on the team right now. That time you saw his ability to take it to the basket.
10 to shoot. Karl Malone. Defended by Thorpe. That's going to be a handful for Otis Thorpe tonight. Kenny Smith with the rebound. Vernon Maxwell. Quick move into the hoop. Stripped away by Stockton. Picked up by Thorpe. Foul on Utah.
You can see the explosive speed and quickness of the backcourt of the Rockets. Maxwell, great quickness. Kenny Smith will blow the ball out. Robert Horry will run the lane. Olajuwon, Thorpe. They have 5 terrific athletes, so Utah must get back in defensive transition and not allow them to get easy layups.
Rockets by 1. Horry again on the drive to Maxwell. Inside Olajuwon. Circled by purple jersey. Somebody got a hand on it, and once again, here comes the mailman. Blocked by Olajuwon. Recovered by Spencer. Jazz by a point. Olajuwon, lightning quick spin move, but he's too low to do anything and travels with the ball. You know, they list Olajuwon and Felton Spencer both. Look at his hand, see if he injured himself there. He's got, on those 2 fingers are taped on the right hand.
Looked like he tried to go so quickly, he lost his balance. I don't know how he
stepped on his
himself.
foot, Doug. Did you see that? Felton Spencer, at about 275 pounds, stepped on his hand. When he comes back around, you'll see that Olajuwon was stepped on that spin move.
It appears that Hakeem is so excited about this game tonight. He's going too quickly. He's got 3 turnovers tonight. I think he can take his time. There's the Felton right on his hand. Good replay and good eyes by Bob Neal there to catch that.
Microscopic vision.
They're going to really try to chase Hornacek off his outside shots. If they screen low, they're going to trap it and try to prevent him from getting that shot quickly.
There's only 2 seconds on the shot clock. Stockton breaks up the end-to-end pass intended for Maxwell.
Now you're going to see Stockton, no numbers. They'll get into their set offense. They'll either run screen row or they run screen across from Malone to try to get him the ball in the low post. They have so many different variations. Here's the screen roll with Spencer.
Stockton steps inside of the defense of Kenny Smith and hits the little 14-footer, and the Jazz lead it by 3. Timeout on the floor. 6:34 to go in the first quarter in the Western Finals, Game 1 from Houston. Jazz by 3, and Doug, you were talking about the key to defending this very fundamental play.
Well, they're starting out this series right now. As we stop it right here, see, Kenny Smith is going to go under the screen. So John Stockton knows he's going to be able to take the ball inside to the foul line, and Kenny Smith is going to meet him there. Does a nice job. Hakeem shows up just enough to get back, but here's where he gets in problem. He leaves his feet. Now Stockton up and under, and he makes the little jump shot. So Kenny Smith did the thing that they want to do. They want to go under the screen on Stockton. Now, if he starts hurting them, they'll have to make an adjustment. With Hornacek, they'll trap it big, and the same thing with Jay Humphries. So different ways of playing screen roll, depending on who's setting the screen and who's handling the basketball.
Utah on an 8-2 run. They've taken a 3-point lead with 6:34 in the first quarter, and Earl Curitan comes in quickly, the first man off the bench for Houston. He is in for Olajuwon, and remember, Hakeem had his right hand stepped on, and the trainer is looking at it, Ray Melchiori looking at him on the side. 275 pounds of Felton Spencer stepping on Olajuwon's hand. Spencer goes down. Curitan with his hands full. They lob for the 7-foot Felton Spencer. Nothing they can do but foul him. This is going to be a real job for Earl Curitan, the 11th year veteran.
Well, see, this is where we talked about the injury, you know, to Herrera, how that hurts their interior play. Earl Curitan has done a nice job, but he doesn't have the young legs that Herrera has, and also the injury to Otis Thorpe's hip. I think it's going to be a little more bothersome to him than what he says. He did not play much in the Phoenix game in Game 7. They said it was because they went to the small lineup, but I think that Otis Thorpe is hurting more than he would like to say.
Curitan sits down after only, well, less than a minute of play. Olajuwon back in with new tape on his fingers, and Felton Spencer, you see his numbers from the playoffs there. Spencer in his 4th year from Louisville. They list him at 7 feet tall and Olajuwon at 7. I can't wait to get a shot of them side by side and look at the difference in the size of Felton Spencer. There you see it down on the low block on the left.
Good execution. Maxwell should get the jump shot there. Doesn't hit it, but that was good execution.
Long rebound to Kenny Smith. He'll stick it in. Jazz by 3.
See if they can get Hornacek on track maybe in the offense. He hasn't had a shot yet. Let's see if they can run something for him, maybe get him a shot coming off the screen.
Maxwell defending Hornacek. We have a foul called underneath the basket by Mike Mathis. That'll be the first on Olajuwon. Karl Malone picked up a foul earlier for Utah.
Let's watch Olajuwon. They said that he pulled him backwards. That's a little light contact right there for all that's gone on in the playoffs. Sometimes you wonder. I saw the 4th foul on Mutombo the other day in the playoffs with Denver where there was incidental contact. It really had an effect in that 7th game that was played on Saturday.
Jay Humphries just checked in. He's playing with tendonitis in his knee. He's in for Stockton. Utah, trouble handling the ball. Out with it comes Robert Horry. He's having problems with it. Maybe see there's oil on the ball. Jerry Sloan with right out there all over his own player. He had an earful for Hugh Hollins.
Well, Robert Horry did everything right except he overhandled the basketball. He fumbled it about 3 times, picked the ball up, and get the ball to your guard. He made about 2 extra dribbles, gain possession, get it back to your ball handler.
12 on the shot clock. Inside Olajuwon, trying to use his quickness against Spencer. He's fouled by Felton.
See, the thing about it is, Bob, he is so quick with those spins that your reaction as a defensive player off the ball is to reach in. That you might as well just put him on the free throw line because you're not going to strip the ball because he moves it so quickly, and he gets a lot of reach-in fouls, and he almost gets a three-point play there because he's so strong and he can finish the play.
Hakeem Olajuwon missing the free throw. Most people think that he'll be named the most valuable player in the NBA sometime this week. The voting was relatively close, I understand, with David Robinson. It'll be officially announced soon, and about everybody thinks that's what the result will be.
See, Humphrey's in the ballgame here early for Stockton. I think it's a good substitution. They need to keep Stockton's minutes at around 36, and Humphrey's been playing very well. There's the Hornacek jumper.
Hornacek had Maxwell right in his face when he released the ball. Now Maxwell inside to Olajuwon, who's having trouble with it in the paint. I mean, he is surrounded quickly by Utah's defense. Maxwell is fouled on the drive by Hornacek.
Hornacek did everything right that time, except at the last moment, he bumped him on the drive. It looked like Maxwell was going to walk with the basketball. He played angles nicely, chased him off the 3, and then right there where they sort of stumbled, and there's where the foul was called. Felton Spencer was coming over to give help.
Hornacek came from Philadelphia for Jeff Malone and has proven to be a more versatile player than Malone. Malone with, of course, the great little fadeaway jumper around the paint. But they've got a versatile player in Hornacek.
Well, what he can do, he can handle the basketball. And that's something Jeff Malone didn't do. They had Stockton having the ball all the time. Now with Humphreys and Hornacek, you have a guy that can give Stockton some rest.
Stockton resting right now. However, Hornacek tried to force it into the mailman. Thorpe comes away with it. A chance for the Rockets to tie or take the lead. And they do on the 3. The second of the game by Kenny Smith. He has 8 points.
You know, we've done 4 Rockets games. This is our 5th game that we've done now since the Phoenix series started. And either Kenny Smith has got it, or Maxwell's got it, or Cassell or Ellie. They've got a great versatility there. And when one of them doesn't happen on a particular night, they put in another player, Smith on fire.
And the crowd really cheering the defensive effort. You see what it came away with. Out to Maxwell. He's there. From Kenny Smith. It's a 3-point Rockets lead. The crowd alive. Houston on an 8-0 run. So a 3-point lead by the Rockets got this crowd back in here. And Utah thought they better take about 20 seconds, Jerry Sloan did, to get the speed of the game tuned down a bit.
When the Rockets are on, they play excellent defense. They get out and they run. And you see right here, they play the screen roll. Humphreys gets a little bit of a step, but you see the collapse. You see Thorpe, you see Olajuwon and Horry back in the passing lane. They kick the ball loose, and then Maxwell just outruns a very fast power forward in Karl Malone. So the explosive speed and quickness of Houston, that's why I said tempo would be so vitally important to this Utah team.
Utah has turned it over 6 times. Maxwell just scored the last time for 10 Houston points. Houston's turned it over 5 times. Olajuwon 3 times right there in the paint. But they seem to have settled down now, they being the Houston Rockets.
I think this play will go through Karl Malone. He really hasn't got any low post position. Look for them to screen and bring him to the low post.
Jay Humphreys with the quick pull-up jumper. Maxwell with the rebound, out of bounds off Benoit.
With Karl Malone in the playoffs, we look at his numbers. He's averaging almost 44 minutes a game. Now, you have to remember in that Denver series, there was 1 overtime game and 1 double overtime, but 44 minutes a night on the floor.
Malone, the deflection of the pass. 10 to shoot for Olajuwon. Hornacek drops down to double. Smith's going to be open. He gives it to Horry, only 4 to shoot. Got to get it up. Horry just forces the baseline jumper. Felton Spencer with the rebound.
Malone in the post. They got to give it to him, maybe run a little split, create a shot opportunity, get some motion.
Hornacek with the ball fake on Maxwell. Horry with the rebound. And Hornacek still has not scored in this game. He is 0 for 2. Maxwell from the corner. Thorpe with the offensive board. He couldn't get it back up. This is a big defensive team for Utah down on the floor. You get it down inside. It's tough in there with Malone and Spencer. Karl Malone now 1 for 4.
He's been known to have cold shooting halves and then come back. We've seen that in the playoffs this year already.
Foul on Jay Humphries as Kenny Smith couldn't get the jumper off. 2:09 to go in the first quarter, and the Rockets are holding on to a 3-point lead. Monday night, Western Finals Game 1. Rockets leading by 3. It's basketball every night of the week again on TNT here in the 94 playoffs. 8 o'clock Eastern. Pacers-Knicks at New York. We'll be back here at 9 Eastern, then 8 Eastern again on Thursday. And Doug and I will close out our TNT coverage at 9 o'clock in Salt Lake City on Friday night.
You see, in the playoffs, the first quarter has been very good to the Houston Rockets. They've been outscoring their opponents by 5 points a game, which is their biggest quarter. Normally when they get a little separation, and already see right now they're sitting on a 4-point lead with the opportunity to push it to 5. So this first quarter has been very good to the Houston Rockets all through the playoffs, except for Game 3 of the Phoenix series when they got down to 14 and came back to win that ball game.
Kenny Smith misses one, and defense has been the key. Utah's been held scoreless 4 minutes since taking a 14-9 lead.
When Karl Malone struggles to score, this Utah team struggles to find offense.
Much like a team located in Phoenix with another power forward. Horry got right in the face of Benoit. Here is Maxwell out on the break, so quick. Look at that, followed by Horry! Minute 34 to go, first quarter, 6-point Houston lead. Nice pass from Hornacek into Felton Spencer, cuts it to 4.
Well, they did not defend the screen roll like they wanted to. Hornacek came off, they trapped it. No one on the weak side rotated. As a result, Felton Spencer on the roll got the easy dunk.
That stops an 11-0 Houston run. Minute to go, first quarter. Olajuwon way away from the ball out here on the high post. Now he got him over in the corner. 5 to shoot. 4. Jay Humphries with a long rebound. Under a minute to go first quarter. Play instructions from Jerry Sloan.
I think Utah has to be very, very happy right now. It's a 20-point first quarter for the Rockets. As we sit right now, they're within 4. There's a screen roll once again, but the tempo has got to be to their liking right now, Bob.
Benoit looking for Spencer, punched away by Olajuwon. The Houston defense is here in this building tonight. That's the 7th Utah turnover. They've held the Jazz to 16 points. Kenny Smith open for the jumper.
You know, his shot is always so flat. I don't know how he has the percentage that he does, but he's an excellent percentage shooter, over 40% from 3, over 50% from 2, and his shot is so flat.
4 seconds in the quarter. Hornacek's pull-up jumper. And at the end of the quarter, Houston holds the Utah Jazz to only 16 points, and they lead it by 4. A defensive battle so far. Smith with 2 3-pointers. Second quarter, Rockets leading at 20-16, and the Rockets have been defending one of the bread and butter plays of the Utah Jazz very well this first quarter.
All right, with Hornacek, what they want to do is they want to jump this screen roll, and as we stop this right here, Olajuwon has got to jump this, and he's got to stop Hornacek. Maxwell's got to come in behind, and they got to trap, and then as Spencer rolls out, they got to have a man pick him up. And we stop it right here. Now they're in trouble because now Olajuwon is beaten, and now no one is going to be over here to pick up Felton Spencer on the roll, and he gets the dunk. So they're going to have to make an adjustment on that play.
holding Utah to only 16 first quarter points. Malone 1 for 3. Hornacek 0 for 3. Get it inside to Tyrone Corbin for his first points of the game and first action as Tom Chambers has come onto the floor. Stockton is back in the game. Sam Cassell is running the show at the point now, along with Mario Elie on the floor for Houston. And there's Cassell doing what he does so well, penetrating, scoring, and dishing.
He has played so great. So you've got Elie in the game and Cassell, two guys off the bench to go with Kenny Smith. And then you've got the Corbin-Elie matchup. So you see already that those two coaches now, when Elie comes in, they're going to match him with Corbin or vice versa.
Chambers, the veteran who has so many moves, definitely has slowed down a bit late here in his career. Knocked out of bounds by Houston. 7 seconds on the clock for Utah. But his experience in the playoffs will certainly help the Jazz.
Without Mark Eaton here now as a shot blocker in the center, now they have no shot blocker in the game. Will this put Malone on Olajuwon, or will Chambers guard Olajuwon?
And John Stockton left open for the jumper, puts it down. Speaking of shot blockers, Hakeem Olajuwon has 42 block shots in the playoffs. This entire Utah team has only 51.
So you got to go into Olajuwon against Tom Chambers. I mean, he's got the mismatch. Ellie's got to drop the ball into him. He's going to force a double team, and he's going to create a shot for someone. He's going to have a shot himself.
He doesn't have time. Only 2 seconds. He gets away at the buzzer. Rebound Malone. Taken away. Cassell and Thorpe combined, and Cassell gets the lay-in.
Sam Cassell can run for mayor here in about another 2 weeks if he keeps playing like this. The performance against Phoenix, what he did against Portland, he is playing great basketball. Remember, he's only a rookie. But he got his start with the Phenoms at the All-Star game. And
the Doug Collins victorious Phenom.
That's right.
Another one of your Phenoms here wearing a Utah uniform.
Brian Russell.
Brian Russell.
I told him make sure they don't pass each other tonight. Both those coaches would be upset with me. So I really stressed team ball when we were there.
You look at these careers you're building already. That's just since the All-Star break. Rockets 24-20. 10 minutes to go. First half. Jay Humphries being defended by Kenny Smith. Cassell's on Stockton.
See, right back to that screen roll. Chambers will look to shoot the jumper. And they're trapping again. They're just smothering that pick and roll.
Now, the defense has been incredible. 24-20. Rockets out in front with 9:59 to go in the first half. And we have a timeout on the floor from the Summit in Houston. Well, the Rockets putting a defensive chokehold on the Jazz, and that's nothing new for Utah in these playoffs.
Well, when you look at the teams they have played, all defensive-minded team, the Spurs on the regular season gave up 95 points a game. That was second in the NBA. The Nuggets gave up 98. That was 10th. And the Rockets gave up 97. That was 5th. So you see that with these three numbers, they played 3 of the top 10 defensive teams in the NBA. Look what the opponent's field goal percentage and the top 3 shot blockers, Robinson, Mutombo, Olajuwon. So it's become a half-court game for Utah. They're averaging only 97 points in the playoffs, but giving up only 92.
Sam Cassell with 12 on the shot clock. Cassell has 6, and he'll go to the free throw line. Oh, he is really coming in here tonight. Cassell had 22 points in Game 7 against Phoenix.
Screen roll again. How are you going to defend screen roll? Malone does not show up. Cassell with a little hesitation dribbled a nice square up. He's 3 for 3 from the floor. Has a chance now for his 7th point. He's only been on the floor 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
7-point Rockets lead. That's the biggest of the game. 9:43 to go first half. Stockton answering quickly. Tyrone Corbin from the corner. He hit some big ones in the Denver series from over there. Thorpe knocks Stockton down. Malone gets the ball with a new shot clock.
Now you got a mismatch. You've got Stockton and Thorpe. They trap it nicely to get it out of his hands.
Jay Humphries steps around Cassell. He can't get it to go down, and Mario Elie rebounds.
Humphries has really been bothered by a sore knee, and Jerry Sloan said that he could really have used a rest.
Look at Cassell. He owns the paint. 9 points.
Jerry Sloan's going to switch that matchup. He's going to put Humphries over on Cassell, let Stockton play Kenny Smith.
Stockton, first team All-NBA, getting schooled by the rookie in this second quarter. Bad pass, Stockton. Kenny Smith has to beat Humphries. 11-point Rockets lead. 8:48 to go in the half. Kenny Smith, 11 Cassell, 9. The Rockets guards are doing it to the Jazz.
Ernie Johnson and Chuck Daly in Atlanta when they hit the break in Houston. We'll have the Reebok halftime report. We'll get the coach's thoughts on what's going on in the first half at the Summit, and we'll hear from Patrick Ewing on the Knicks' conquest of the champion Bulls as he talks with Craig Sager. That's the Reebok halftime report minutes from now. Now back to Houston, Bob and Doug.
Rockets by 11 with 8:48 to go in the first half. We're talking about this Houston defense, particularly on the screen roll, and even arguably the best point guard in the NBA has trouble with it.
We see Cassell goes under the screen this time, and he does a nice job. Malone's going to roll out. The problem is, instead of Stockton continuing on to the foul line, this time he tries to cut back, and when he does, he gets hung up into the air with no place to go. Kenny Smith reads the passing lane. He gets the turnover. 17 points now off Utah turnovers. In 15 minutes tonight, the Jazz already have 10 turnovers. They're averaging under 12 a game in the entire playoffs. Is that fatigue? And it's a combination of good Rocket defense.
Chambers from Stockton. Rebound over Thorpe. No question about it. You said in the opening that fatigue could play a part in this game, and Utah does, in fact, look fatigued and not quite ready. They just haven't had time to really put in the preparation that Jerry Sloan wanted as Kenny Smith misses the three. Corbin with a rebound.
See, again, that Reggie Williams jump shot. I keep going back to that, how fragile everything is. That jump shot that went in to win Game 4 cost him 8 days rest and 3 extra games. Boy, do you know how big that is on a night like tonight?
Karl Malone really struggling tonight. He is 1-4-5, and he is the man, as we all know. He has to carry this team.
Well, you saw in the double overtime win up Denver, when he went out, they could hardly score, so someone's going to have to manufacture some points as Corbin finally breaks loose with the jump shot.
Well, they get Corbin split out there on the corners, both sides. When they get that pick and roll with Stockton's penetration, he'll find him if Corbin can knock it down. Rockets by 9. Inside from Cassell to Olajuwon over Chambers.
See, they have no really backup center. You know, with Mark Eaton being down with an injury, Hakeem knows it's almost like the matchup against Phoenix. A.C. Green is a terrific defensive player, but he can't block his shot. So Hakeem shoots it with such great confidence, not worried about getting a blocked shot.
Karl Malone misses again. He's 1 for 6 tonight, and that one was right under the basket.
Yeah, but he had Hakeem in one eye, too. He said, where is he? Now, Mutombo's gone. Now, it's Hakeem now, so there's another quick shot.
It doesn't go. 1 for 7. Malone back with it. Not this time. Olajuwon with a rebound. 1 for 8. Kenny Smith sees the opportunity for penetration. As Jay Humphries fell down, Smith blew by him, and Kenny has 13 to lead all scorers. Biggest lead of the game, Doug, 13 points.
Again, you can see when Karl Malone struggles to score, he is so vitally important to this half-court offense of Utah.
Malone finally gets one to fall. He's now 2 for 9.
See how quickly Houston got the ball up court, though.
And Thorpe inside again. And also, you do see a sign of slowness and sluggishness on the part of Utah. There in the paint, they allowed the layup.
Well, you know, you say, well, both these teams played Saturday, and they both played 7 games extra, but Houston's at home, and you expect their crowd with the adrenaline and all that to help get them through that fatigue more so than Utah, who's on the road.
Chambers' jump shot won't fall. Cassell with a long rebound. Picked off by Stockton. He gets it back. Only Thorpe is there. Chambers gets the lay-in. 5:39 to go first half. Rockets by 11.
See, no one getting back again with Hakeem. Such great interior position.
Corbin with the rebound. Rockets by 11. Stockton's short pull-up jumper. Boy, would he love to have had that against Denver.
Yes.
He could have ended the series earlier also. Stockton is 5 of 6 tonight. Look at that little pull-up jumper over on the left side. 10 to shoot for the Rockets.
Tough shot.
Ellie and Cassell, they could form a a law firm. They could go into the advertising business. It could be a political ticket. Vote for Cassell and Ellie. Anything they want these days. Stockton missing. Malone back out to Humphries.
See, they're running this screen roll right now with Humphries and Chambers at the top of the floor, trying to get Chambers to roll out to get the jump shot. Olajuwon not leaving him.
Jay Humphries with the penetration into Tom Chambers. He's fouled on the pass. And Earl Curitan and Maxwell will come in for Houston. Spencer and Hornacek in for Utah. Malone will get a rest.
See, Jay Humphries was such a big player in that San Antonio series, and then against Denver he got a sore knee and his numbers came down dramatically, and they really need him. He can really give them some explosive scoring. Some of that game in San Antonio in the second game of the series, he had like 25 points off the bench.
Stockton. Hornacek off a Chambers pick, and then he throws it away. That's the 11th turnover.
Bob, they're playing that screen down so great, and what they're doing is they're trailing Hornacek. They're staying right in his hip as he's trying to curl it. The big man showing up, forcing him to pick up his dribble, taking the catch and shoot away, and then getting back quickly to the baseline guy who just set the screen, that time forcing a turnover. So their game plan is at right now at perfection in terms of what they're doing against that pin down on the weak side on Hornacek.
Cassell denied the penetration this time. Herbie Maxwell for three. So Maxwell checks back into the game and gets the assist from Cassell. 42-28. Think of this. 3:40 to go in the first half, and Utah with first quarter type points. Curitan. In 9 minutes, he had 3 big rebounds and hit his only shot in Game 7.
You notice how every shot that Utah's missing is front rim. That's a sign of no legs into the shot.
Olajuwon spinning in the middle, and he's fouled. He got past Spencer. It's on Corbin.
Second team foul.
You know, correct me, we are in Houston. This is not New York.
This is Houston.
This score certainly looks like we're in the East.
Well, you've got two of the better defensive teams, and as we get into the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, you see the scores come way down. And we said in our open, Phoenix did not break 100 points 4 times against this Houston team, and Phoenix was the #1 scoring team in the NBA this year.
At the conclusion of tonight's game, we'll select the Budweiser player of the game, and Budweiser will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the United Negro College Fund. Olajuwon with 9 points now. Biggest lead of the ball game, 44-28, a lead of 16. Stockton nowhere to go, had to dish it again. Benoit, tough shot.
He has such great ability. He had a very poor regular season, shooting only 38% this year.
Inside to Olajuwon, easy layup. Who got it to him? Sam Cassell with another assist in this game. He is not only scoring, but he has 4 assists to go with his 9 points.
See, Maxwell doing a great job defensively on Hornacek, giving him no open shots. Playing them like they played Marley in the first series. There's Benoit once again.
Benoit's 3rd year from Alabama. Very athletic. Reminds me a little bit of Ceballos for Phoenix. Quick down on the baseline. Got the start tonight, trying to look for a little quickness for Utah here. Houston a lot quicker than this Utah team. Rockets 46-32, their biggest lead of the game with 2:26 to go in the half, and the key there is holding the Jazz to only 32. Ernie Johnson has Chuck Daly in the studio with him for a Reebok halftime report. They'll recap this first half, and we'll get some of the wisdom of Coach Chuck. And also, Craig Sager has an interview with Patrick Ewing as the Knicks move into the Eastern Conference Finals, and Patrick will be the 2nd tallest center in that series.
Rick Smith has played very well, I want to tell you, for Indiana. And Indiana, New York better not take them lightly because they're playing great basketball. They've had a lot of chance to rest between the playoff series, and Reggie Miller is playing great. And as we look at the shooting, speaking of Reggie Miller and shooting, the Rockets 11 for 14 in this quarter, 79%, all under the leadership in this quarter of Sam Cassell.
Olajuwon with the double team. 7 to shoot. No look to Olajuwon over Felton Spencer. My, oh my. Olajuwon has 13 points.
Great patience inside, double team, outside, back in, get the shot. It's tough to double team a guy twice.
Offensive foul away from the ball called by Hugh Hollins.
Look at Olajuwon working in the post. Here's the double team. He kicks it back out. Good patience. Right back in, and you notice this time the double team can't get there. Now he's got one-on-one coverage. That's when you show patience with your big man. He'll reward you with a high percentage shot.
Hornacek was called with that foul. He has 2 of them now and 3 turnovers, and Hornacek hasn't scored in the game. Cassell has it punched away as he tried to split Hornacek and Stockton. Stockton got all the way to the baseline, and the open man was Felton Spencer. Ori pulls down the board. He has 4 rebounds. Ellie quickly to the hoop. Fended off Hornacek with his arm. No whistle. Mike Mathis was right there.
An incidental bump that time with Ellie.
Hornacek missing from long range. He is struggling. 0 for 5. Marley struggled. Hornacek struggled. Mad Max may be the man.
Well, he's doing a very good job, and he's taking away from the spots on the floor that he really likes to shoot the ball. And then when you get an open shot, you put so much pressure on yourself to make it because you haven't seen one all night.
The Dream dishes out here on the left wing, and that is a 3 by Mario Ellie. Houston now 4 of 7 from 3-point range. Utah hasn't even attempted a 3 yet. Benoit has it blocked. Olajuwon. Then Ellie. The crowd is in a frenzy, as are the Rockets. Ori with the rebound.
Get the
Rockets dominating this ball game.
Get the last shot. You got plenty of time. Bernie Maxwell says, no, I'll take it now.
The Rockets lead it 54 to 32. 5 3-pointers in this first half.
Utah was very upset. They thought that Benoit's shot was goaltended in the last possession.
Benoit with authority on the jam. Corbin intercepts. He's going to give it to Stockton for the long shot. That would have counted, but to no avail. Sam Cassell, 6 assists, hasn't missed from the floor, 9 points, and Houston outscores Utah 34 to 18 in the second quarter.
But there are no rules.
Well, if you're a Jazz fan, it hasn't been pretty. 54-34 is the halftime count. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals as the Rockets lead it by 20. Ernie Johnson, Chuck Daly with the Reebok halftime report. Karl Malone going 2 out of 9. Jeff Hornacek has not hit from the field. That kind of tells you the story. Houston in control here.
Well, it's all about home court. When you get this deep into the playoffs, we talked about it earlier, 7th game, they all win at home. And this club had to travel, and that's what it's all about. They just can't get on track.
It is a 20-point game, 54-34 in favor of Houston. In case you haven't heard the news out of Minneapolis, the owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves are selling the team to a group led by Top Rank of Louisiana, Bob Arum's boxing empire, for $152.5 million. And the team will move to New Orleans. All of that must be approved by the NBA, of course, but if and when that approval is given, the team will play next season at the Superdome while a new arena is built, so the NBA, it seems, will return to New Orleans. And when the Reebok halftime report continues, Craig Sager with Patrick Ewing on 24 minutes that put New York in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's Utah's lowest scoring half of the playoffs. They're down by 20 at the Summit as the Reebok halftime report continues. The eyes of the NBA were on Madison Square Garden Sunday for Game 7 of the Bulls-Knicks series, and Patrick Ewing was under the New York microscope. It was Ewing who would have to shoulder the load of a weight that had gotten heavier each time the Bulls knocked the Knicks out of the playoffs. Today, Craig Sager sat down with Ewing one day after he had played as meaningful a half of basketball as he's ever played in his career, 3 days after he'd been laid low in Chicago at the hands of Scottie Pippen.
dunked on me. Then, you know, he kind of stood over me, embarrassed me, so I got mad. You know, Coach Townsend told me it was after the game, and he was happy that he dunked on me because he knew that I have a lot of pride and I was going to come back. And, you know, that's what I did. Came back strong.
Game 7 was billed as the most important game of Patrick Ewing's career. What would the ramifications have been had you lost?
So I didn't even think about that. All I was on my mind was, you know, just going out and, you know, getting the job done. You know, the night before, it was hard for me to sleep because all I was doing was just thinking about just playing the game in my mind, what I want to do, how was I going to do it. And so it took me a while to fall asleep. And finally, when I told my wife she had to make me something to eat for me to get to sleep.
With no points at the half, the stage was set for colossal failure. What were your thoughts or fears?
I didn't have any fears. I was just, I thought that the 2 quick fouls took me out of it, early. I wasn't able to get back in it right away, but I was doing other things. I was passing the ball. I was playing great defense, just rebounding, doing other things, you know, to keep us close. And then in the second half, I was able to get back in the flow, and just took it from there.
What does an NBA championship mean to you?
It means a lot. You know, I've said it, you know, time and time again. I've won in high school. I won in college. I won 2 gold medals. This is the last, stepping stone for me to take is to win the championship, and you know that's my goal. It's been my goal since I came here, and I think it's my destiny.
On the court, we always see your game face. What will your reaction be to finally winning an NBA title?
Like Mark Jackson told me the other day when I talked to him on the phone, he wants to see me hugging and kissing on that NBA trophy like Michael and Isaiah and Magic and everybody else was doing. So you'll see this big smile on my face and me holding on to that trophy.
A lot of great players have never had the chance to do that or won that ring. Is this the year for the big guy from New York?
Well, I think Patrick deserves to get a ring. He's been a real champion, warrior, really tough guy, great player, and he deserves it. Whether he'll get it, I don't know. He's got a few hurdles yet.
Only 48 players remaining in the playoffs. Now only 2 have the championship ring, Byron Scott and Earl Curitan. We'll be right back. Ernie Johnson and the coach back at you from Atlanta as the Reebok halftime report continues. We started the night talking about Akeem Olajuwon and Felton Spencer, and Felton really with his hands full. But it's not just him who's paying attention to Akeem Olajuwon. Let's take a look.
Here we take a look coming down court. Kenny Smith hits Vern Maxwell, pulls up, dumps the ball inside. Now watch what happens. Here comes 1, 2, 3, and he's on his way.
Let's see what they can do with the big guy.
That's almost like you do it in the drill. But look at the spacing. Look at the spacing. And now we're going to see Maxwell take him off the dribble. Here he comes going baseline. Bangs into him. Now he stumbles, walks, whatever you want to call it.
But gets the look he wanted to get, a wide open look. Yeah. On the other end, Karl Malone has really struggled, Coach, 2 out of 9.
Yeah, this looks like fatigue to me. Watch right here. He takes it up. This one is a little long. He gets bounced around. The ball gets kicked around again. They get the loose ball, fool around with it, dribble it outside.
On him inside there too.
Here he's still posted. They still want it. They've got to get Malone off. They've got to make something happen. Here he goes again. Starts his move into the lane, which is a patented jump hook. Comes up short on the front rim. It's tipped up again. Here Karl follows, which he does so well. Throws it up again, an easy layup off the front of the rim. Fatigue is showing.
2 out of 9 from the field for Karl Malone. Jeff Hornacek is 0 for 5. Utah is down by 20. The count is 54-34 as they head to the 3rd at the Summit.
The Reebok Halftime Report has been brought to you by Reebok.
Houston has scored 54 points in the first half to take a 20-point lead, but the key here is not necessarily that they've scored 54, but that the Rockets have held the Utah Jazz to only 34. Both teams defensive-minded coaches. Both teams can play defense. But I think in addition to the defense, we've seen a tired, as you pointed out at the beginning, a tired, a fatigued, and there is a difference, Utah team.
Yeah, and not only fatigued physically, but also mentally and emotionally. When you go through a series like that, I felt if Houston could jump on them like they did tonight, that could happen, because it's a normal thing when you come off such an emotional series as they did against Denver.
You know, Karl Malone told me right before the ball game, I went over and talked to him just before we did our open and said, how fatigued do you feel in terms of mental and physical? And he says, I'm tired and the team's tired. I told him at this time of the year that doesn't matter.
Right.
And it doesn't in terms of your attitude, but it has shown up on the court tonight.
Well, also, too, when a team starts to make a run at you and the crowd gets in it, you just don't have enough to fight back. And it's going to be very interesting here in this third quarter to see if they can get themselves back into the game.
You know, Houston developing a tremendous defensive attitude. You talked about the defense of the screen and roll.
Well, what's going to happen is Chambers is going to step out and set the screen, and with Humphreys involved, we stop it right here. Olajuwon is going to attack, and Kenny Smith is going to come in behind, and they're going to trap him. Jay Humphreys does exactly what they want him to do. He picks up his dribble. You must keep your dribble alive and string that out. He doesn't. They knock the ball loose and force the turnover, one of 12 turnovers. Now remember, this is a team that averages 12 turnovers or less than 12 turnovers in a complete game. And here was a play of Sam Cassell. He knocks the ball loose, and with the little layup, he was everywhere in that first half, he and both Mario Elie. And here is Hakeem Olajuwon, who had 13 points on 5 of 9 shooting. He gets excellent post position. The ball comes to the top, you dump it in, and again, Tom Chambers at this stage of his career, not a shot blocker, goes up strong and makes the shot.
74% in the second quarter for the Rockets. 5 3-pointers to none for the Jazz. This second half is underway, and the Utah Jazz with the basketball, trailing by 20. Illegal defense called against Houston by Mike Mathis.
Illegal defense violation.
That's the second one, and it'll be a technical foul, and a free throw will be shot by Jeff Hornacek.
We see the numbers right there. Karl Malone 2 for 9, Jeff Hornacek 0 for 5. Their 2 leading scorers, 4 points on 2 for 14 shooting. Hornacek will shoot the technical. Bob, in that second quarter also, too, we talk about the combination of Elie Cassell, and we look at their numbers, 9 points and 6 assists for Sam Cassell, 5 points for Mario Elie. They both played the entire second quarter, and they outscored the Utah Jazz 16. It was 34-18, so they came off the bench, and what an emotional lift they gave after Smith and Maxwell sat down.
Hornacek has just had a nightmare tonight. He finally fights his way past the Maxwell defense and is now 1 for 6.
There's still plenty of time to get back into this game. We know Houston has had troubles at home with big leads, losing game 1 by an 18-point lead to Phoenix, and game 2 a 20-point lead. So let's see if Utah can give them any resistance.
No resistance there. Ori hit the bottom of the rim, had a chance to casually put it back up and in with no defensive effort from Utah at all on the play.
Well, we know that this Utah team is a fierce competitive team, and Ori that time, like you said, blocked his own dunk off the rim and really just got it back and laid it in the basket with no resistance at all. So this is one of those games where if you don't get back into it, Jerry Sloan has been in these playoff wars for a long, long time. And if you don't get back into it, you say, you know what, our sole purpose, if we can, is to get one of these first 2 games. And he then makes a decision on what he wants to do later on.
Now, Phoenix was down by 18 points in game 1 and came back and won.
Yes.
Down by 20 points in the fourth quarter and came back and won. So Utah, I'm sure, will be thinking about that, but Phoenix did not appear. We don't want to overdevelop this fatigue story, but it has shown up to be a factor in tonight's game. 56-37, Rockets with 10:58 to go third quarter. Malone inside. You see there, no lift, but he got back, but it was blocked. Spencer is fouled. Olajuwon with the block. Remember, he had 42 blocks coming in to this game.
Well, you knew this was coming. Jerry Sloan very upset, feeling that, remember I said in the first half at the end, he felt that there was a goaltending call that was not called. This time he felt that Karl Malone's second shot was goaltended. Let's watch it. He gets the replay, or excuse, gets the rebound, and he goes back up. Felt that shot was goaltended. So he got the technical foul, so Kenny Smith shoots the technical free throw for Houston. Shot that one a little quickly. Looks like he didn't take his time.
There's Jerry Sloan is an animated coach during the game, but he sure does leave it at the game. He relaxes afterwards and is quiet A quiet fury might be a good way to describe Jerry Sloan, former great defensive player in the NBA.
He's done a terrific job with this Utah team, too. They are well coached, structured offense. John Stockton, what he can bring out there at the point guard position, he's probably going to become the all-time assist man next year. You've got Karl Malone. So possible 2 Hall of Famers on this team when you look at this Utah Jazz team and what they've been able to do over the years. A well-kept secret in the NBA on how big basketball is in Salt Lake City.
Houston with a 17-point lead. 10 to shoot. Horry from Olajuwon. Rebound Karl Malone. He has 11 rebounds. Karl has struggled from the floor with only 4 points, where he's 2 for 11, but 11 rebounds. Trying to post him against Otis Thorpe. I thought we'd see a lot more of that.
Well, Otis Thorpe is a very good position defensive player. Did a nice job against Barkley. I was kidding him today. I said, you know, you start out with either Buck Williams or Cliff Robinson in the first round. Then you get Barkley. Now you get Karl Malone. Never a dull moment for you. And he's really the unsung hero on this team because he gives you about 9 rebounds, about 15 points. He's always one of the best field goal percentage shooters in the game. But he does it very quietly.
Down to Malone again. The lay-in missed again. Malone back again this time. Almost blocked by Olajuwon again.
Well, you see, Karl Malone just doesn't miss those shots. I mean, he's missed about 3 of those tonight.
You know, they're going to keep milking that cow, and you can bet on that. The Rockets' lead has been cut to 15. They were up by 20.
Getting a little stagnant here in their half court. When you get their problems is when they do this. They need to keep ball movement.
Thorpe with a look what I found. This is the jumper saved by Hornacek.
See a score right here, and all of a sudden you're back to 12 or 13 points. So
now Houston looking a bit lethargic here to start this third quarter. Hornacek, look out. Hornacek with 2 baskets in this quarter after being unable to score from the floor. And this is a 9-2 start for the Jazz to begin this period, and they pull to within 13.
See, the one thing you run into as a coach, if your players perceive things as being too easy, this is what happens. They go into these lulls.
Well, it's a lull, no question about it. Houston's played this way much of the time all season during a period of each game, and they certainly faced some real disasters with Phoenix in games 1 and 2 of that last series. And Hornacek scores again. It's an 11-point lead, and now Rudy Tomjanovich gets a timeout.
And now Utah has bounced in their step. They were down 20. They were tired. Now they think maybe we can win this basketball game. 11-2 run to start this half.
Screen and roll working a little better for the Jazz here. Rockets hit a slump. It's now an 11-point game.
Well, this is one of the bread and butter plays. Karl Malone's going to set the screen here, and you're going to see Hornacek come around. And we'll stop it there, and we'll show you about the defense, about how you want to play this play. We stop it right there, and Otis Thorpe is so worried about leaving Karl Malone that Olajuwon has got to be the guy that comes back and help as he makes this curl to the basket. And Hakeem is slow getting there. And Jeff Hornacek now with 3 baskets here in this quarter after only scoring 18 points in the entire second quarter. Now Utah 11 in the first 3 minutes.
8:52 to go, third quarter. Maxwell down to Olajuwon. Thorpe for the offensive rebound. And he can't get the shot away. Spencer comes away with it. We got a jump ball call. Spencer and Malone down there just put up, they look like a couple of sequoias.
I think that when Houston gets in trouble is when they become so half-court oriented, the ball goes into Olajuwon and they have a tendency to spectate. The clock winds down. What's happening the last couple possessions is they've been very slow getting into their offense. They need some more quick-hitting stuff. I think Rudy's going to get his guards out and moving maybe some screen roll or something other than just dumping into Hakeem.
7-footer Felton Spencer wins that tip. Spencer with 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks tonight. Olajuwon's had 3 blocks in this game. Malone scores again, and now Karl Malone is starting to heat up a bit. It is a 9-point Houston lead. Utah on a 13-2 spurt.
See, now they're going to go to, looks like, post on this side.
Olajuwon spinning past Spencer.
Changed sides of the floor that time. Hakeem was having difficulty on one side. They ran him to the post on the strong side. Just a quick spinning move around Felton Spencer. They're going right back to that same play. If it works, make him stop it.
Vernon Maxwell knew they were going back to the same play. Stepped into the passing lane to get the steal. Now Olajuwon from the left side. Kicks to Vernon Maxwell. Misses the three. Stockton on the run. Hornacek. Pull up.
It's amazing when you make a couple shots, that basket gets bigger and bigger. Hornacek 0 for 5 in the first half. He now has 4 for 4 here in this quarter. 4 for 9 now for the game.
8 assists for Stockton. Maxwell on the drive. Kicks to Kenny Smith, looking for his third three.
They'll keep shooting it. Remember now, Utah gives up more three-point shots than any team in the NBA, but the only teams only shoot 29% against them. Houston takes the most and makes the most. They set a record this year with three-pointers made in a season.
Houston 6 of 11 tonight, down to Spencer. Tough shot. And the ball will belong to Houston, leading 61-49. 6:59 to go in the third quarter. Talk about the three-point shooting. You see Houston just a little over 5 a game in the regular season, nearly 7 in the playoffs, 17 attempts a game, and they're shooting 39%. A nice number there. Malone gets the loose ball out to Stockton. Run over by Spencer. He stepped on Olajuwon's hand earlier. Now he runs over his point guard.
See if they can get Hornacek now, maybe a jump shot. The ball's going inside, outside.
The foul before the block. It's the second on Olajuwon.
Ball goes inside. You get the cutter. Ori peaked just enough to allow Benoit to get by him, and Karl Malone's become a much better passer his last 3 years in the NBA. It used to be once it went in there, he was going to shoot the ball. Now he's looking for cutters.
And you know what I noticed there, Doug, is, as I know you did too, is Malone, as he had the ball, waited, gave Benoit enough time to make a read and get in, showed some real patience.
Well, when you're handling the ball as much as he does, and you're getting so many double teams, it becomes an offense within itself. The ball goes in, you double team, let's find the open guy. And that's what big guys in this league have really had to learn to do, is become good passers.
Maxwell had trouble handling the ball, that sore right hand. Malone has 14 rebounds. Hornacek to Felton Spencer, being defended by Robert Horry. Hugh Hollins with the whistle.
That'll be 5 team fouls. The Jazz have not committed a foul yet this period, so penalty for the rest of the way now.
And
for the Utah Jazz.
They haven't missed a free throw. They're 7 for 7.
You know, Felton Spencer, I think, has been a real key to this team this year. You know, he's not an elite center, but he's come over and he's been very, very solid for this team. And you look at the numbers on the year, Bob, he gives them 8.5 rebounds. He blocks about a shot a game, gives them about 9 points. And when they lost Mark Eaton this year, they lost a major part of this team because Mark Eaton used to throw up, you know, high 300s or 400s in block shots, which was the anchor of this defense. And they had to change their entire defense without a shot block.
They funneled to Eaton.
Absolutely.
Spencer now 5 of 6 from the line with 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 11 points in this game tonight. It's the Rockets by 9. They led by 20 at the half.
Got a walk, I think. Did he call it?
Looked like a foul called by Hugh Hollins. I think he could have called a walk. Olajuwon defends very well, and he just kept going with it. They're calling the foul on Felton Spencer.
Watch Hakeem now. He's going to travel, but does a foul come first? I guess there's the foul, and then you see there's the walk, but they called it on Felton Spencer.
His first. Olajuwon shoots those free throws at about a 75% clip. There's his numbers for the night. 17 points, 4 rebounds.
Bob, how about Hakeem's numbers in the playoffs? 31 points a game, almost 4 blocks, a steal and a half, 5 assists, and almost 13 rebounds in 42 minutes.
Well, you might say he's one of the better players in the league. Stockton, missing from long range. Horry pulled up with a cramp in his right leg, it looked like. He's up and moving now.
Boy, did you see the trainer up off the bench and the look in Rudy T's face? That's how championships can be lost in one play.
A three for Kenny Smith. That's his 4th triple of the night. He has 19 points, and the triples are proving to be the difference. 21 points from 7 3-pointers in this game. Malone is fouled, and he hits the hoop. Thorpe picks up the personal. It'll be his third.
See, Karl Malone is just going to keep coming at you. Don't get misled by the fact that he's 5 for 15 or whatever from the floor tonight. He might take 30 shots before the night's over. He might have 15 field goals. And this is just a muscle job right here, right into the arm of Otis Thorpe, and he gets the continuation and the shot to go.
He reminds me of a 1,000-yard runner in football.
Right, you just keep giving him the ball, and he might get 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, and all of a sudden he breaks one for about 25, and his per average yardage is about 6 or 7 per carry.
Exactly. Malone, there's the three we took. Look at that, 21 points on 7 of 12, and Utah 0 for 2, but Utah doesn't shoot many.
That's only his first free throw of the night, and he gets to the line about 7-8 times a game.
Maxwell, 3. That's 8 Houston three-pointers. That's the Rockets' red glare, as they say in a song sung before most of these games.
Vernon Maxwell in the regular season against Utah was 6 for 40 from 3.
12-point Rockets lead, 4:33 to go.
As a team on the year in 6 games, 27 for 112, 24%. Well, they're not shooting that way tonight, and Jerry Sloan's got to say, where is this coming from?
10 to shoot. Olajuwon will try the jumper. They're all falling. He may as well knock his down. Hakeem has 19, 71-57. Jazz still hanging in here, though.
I think Charles Barkley said it best. We double-team Hakeem, and if they're making it threes, we can go home.
Well, they're making their threes. Smith thought about that one. They've got Maxwell spotted up in the corner. Olajuwon is fouled on the lean-in field goal attempt. That's 3 on Hornacek.
This is where Jay Humphries is so valuable to the team. He's come out now with a knee sleeve on in this second half. We talked about him not being at full speed. When he's not at full speed, it forces Jerry Sloan to get John Stockton back on the floor sooner than he would like to. He'd like to keep his minutes down at 36 or 37. In that first half, though, Humphries
has tendinitis, by the way, in that knee, the reason for the knee sleeve.
He played 13 minutes and did not score.
There's Earl Curitan, a member of the 1983 Sixers NBA championship team, along with...
well, he was a rookie when I played. That's how long Earl's been in the league. Okay?
What year was it that he was a rookie?
He's lying about his age is all I'm telling you right now.
You're not gonna
No.
It's gonna be in my book.
You have to do research on that. I'm not going to tell on myself.
3:41 to go, third quarter, 72-57 Houston. Inside, Felton Spencer with the two-handed jam, and Felton has 13.
Quietly, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 4 for 7 from the floor, 5 for 6.
2 blocks. Hakeem misses that one. Another rebound for Felton Spencer. And Hakeem goes flying, calling for the foul, getting no help from Ron Gerritsen. And to Spencer again, because Olajuwon didn't get down there. Who's going to stop the big man?
Hakeem missed the shot, and what he did, he stripped at the ball and fell down. And then they played basically 5-on-4 in that possession. Jazz hanging around, down only 11.
10 to shoot. Robert Horry back down to Olajuwon. Turns right into Malone. Back to Horry. Smith. 3! Kenny Smith has 5 3-pointers. My, oh my. We were talking about the Rockets being scuds in that Phoenix game. They look more like the Patriots here tonight. Smith is 5 out of 6 from beyond the arc. 8 to shoot. Humphries goes to the left hand. He was fouled on the drive.
See, Humphries is a right-handed player that actually loves to go to his left and finish left better. So when you run at him, you got to remember that and try to push him back to what you think would be a strong hand, but it really isn't.
Coming this fall, Sunday night.
Ron Thule and Hubie Brown will be in New York for the Pacers-Knicks Game 1 of the Eastern Final.
Well, we need to congratulate the New York Knicks on a great series with the Chicago Bulls, and I know the Bulls are very disappointed after 3 championships. But what a tremendous series, and Patrick Ewing, a great second half. Charles Oakley, a tremendous game, 17 points and 20 rebounds, and now they move on and finally have eliminated the Chicago Bulls after 5 times in the playoffs of being eliminated themselves.
Jay Humphries to the free throw line. 2:22 to go, third quarter. Humphries missing from there. Normally a pretty good free throw shooter, 75% of the playoffs. And by the way, we've been talking about all these threes. Kenny Smith has 5 tonight. The record in the playoff is set by Dan Marley last year with 8 versus Seattle. So Kenny Smith
did that game.
3 short of tying that.
I remember doing that game. He kept getting further and further out on the floor. Finally, George Karl just said, heck with it. I mean, he just, it was unbelievable.
We will not defend you on our defensive court. 10 seconds. Sam Cassell about ready to come back in for Kenny Smith. Oh, he may come in for Maxwell. Olajuwon. Turn around. Jumper will fall down. That's a 16-point lead.
Did everything right, and Olajuwon just shoots it right in the face. He's so good.
Well, I think he's the best player in the NBA today.
You won't get an argument from me. I'll tell you that right now. The more I see him, the more you love him, and I love the way he carries himself on the floor.
Benoit, tough off-balance shot, kept alive by Earl Curitan, and Ori comes away with it to Maxwell. Maybe they'll reward Earl. He sets the screen. Maxwell rewards him with a jump shot. Followed by Ori. He missed it. Felton Spencer.
Ori was so wide open that the offensive rebound, he just went too quickly with it.
Hornacek quickly down to Malone. Look at Robert Ori. He stripped that ball in an eyelash.
Well, he only has 6 points, but he has 10 rebounds in the game. And when you look at he and Ellie, what they brought tonight, they have outplayed the small forward position, Benoit and Corbin, on the Utah Jazz, and I think that's a real critical matchup for the rest of this series.
Kenny Smith thought about the 3, then the penetration and draws the foul. Of course, well, again, once you hit those shots, as you pointed out several times in the Phoenix series, and as Barkley pointed out, once Phoenix gets this wide 3-point perimeter game going with Olajuwon in the middle, you're almost out of defensive bullets.
What you have to do is you have to get a hand up in the face, close out on the 3-point shooters, and hope they're not making them. Tonight they're 8 for 12. Utah has no 3-point field goals made, so from the 3-point line tonight they're plus 24, and they lead by 15. And Utah's got to say, look, I mean, we're doing things right. But when you shoot 67% from the 3-point line, you know, you're going to be in for a long night if you're the opponent.
How about this? Houston tonight from the field, 48% from 2-point area, 64% from the 3.
And if you even take that further, 64% from 3 is, you know, 8 for 12, 24. That's actually 100% from 2. If you look at it, that's 12 field goals. So they're actually 100%, 12 for 12.
You're way too far into the calculus for me there. I get what you mean, though. Hornacek on the drive. His jump hook will rattle home.
He's had a big quarter.
15-point. Rockets lead, 32 seconds to go. And Hornacek in this quarter, 13 points.
And 6 of 7 from the field.
After having none in the first.
0 for 5.
We did that like in stereo. 10 on the clock. Olajuwon has it batted away and recovers it now 3. Uh-oh. Kenny Smith misses this time. Ori with a rebound. Plenty of time. 7 seconds. Smith thought about taking another one. He is dying for the threes. To Cassell. 2 seconds. Cassell throws up a prayer. Curitan almost got the tip in. Well, the Rockets led by 20 at the half. The Jazz cut into it by 5 points with 12 minutes remaining in this game. Kenny Smith, 5 triples, 24 points in the game to lead all scorers. Points. It has been the 3 and defense that's kept Houston in this ballgame.
Yes, and what they've done is they just so frustrate you, Bob, because they get the 3 going. Now you cover that. Now they go into Olajuwon. And when they have the inside-out game going, I mean, 8 for 12 from the 3-point line, and now you've got Olajuwon with 22 points on 8 for 15 shooting. So the inside-outside game is there for them. When they do that, they're the best team in the NBA.
Cassell, Kenny Smith. Of course, you'd leave him in with his 3-point barrage tonight. Curitan, Olajuwon, and Ori on the floor to start this final 12 minutes for Houston. Benoit defending Ori. Felton Spencer on Olajuwon. The foul and the basket. That's 24 points for Olajuwon. And Felton Spencer called for the personal. His second.
See, Hakeem should be illegal. That's just way too quick for a guy that size. I mean, watch this quick spin now. He feels the defense. and wheels into the lane. Look how quickly he goes and is all the way to the other side of the lane in one dribble and the finish for the three-point play. Just, I marvel at him the more I see him, Bob. We've had the good fortune. I had the 4th game against Portland. I've had this entire series, or I had the entire Phoenix series, and now this game, and the guy is sensational.
25 points so far tonight with 11 and a half left. Jay Humphreys with the drive to the basket. The Jazz hanging around here, down 16 with 11:24. They've played tired much of the night. Houston came out lackadaisically in the 3rd, and that gave the Jazz a chance to pull to within 9, but that's as close as they've been able to get. Horry decided to try the 3, not as much success as Kenny Smith. John Stockton, who's been relatively quiet tonight.
He said, okay, I'll take a 3 there, Bob.
Just to make
right
it noise. Cassell gets the pick from Curitan. Double clutches. Rebound Felton Spencer, who has 15 rebounds in this game. I'll make it 10.
It's going to be a violation, Bob. Caught his own missed shot without it hitting the rim. So it's basically a traveling violation. Benoit wanted to dunk the ball. He lost the handle, went over the basket, and he caught his own air ball, basically what it was.
Spencer's going out. Corbin coming in, and Chambers in also for Utah. Speaking of Benoit, how about this? Horry, Latrell Sprewell, James Robinson, David Benoit. There have been some players come out of Alabama.
A little talent, right?
Wow. Some substitutions getting straightened out here on the floor. Not sure whether Tyrone Corbin, not sure whether he can get in, and that's what Rudy Tomjanovich is down questioning that substitution.
They're going to make him wait. They said he was not at the scorer's table, so next dead ball, he'll get into the game.
So it's Chambers, Benoit, Malone, Humphreys, and Stockton on the floor for Utah. With the penetration, Puritan to Elijah with 6 on the shot clock over Chambers. Team has 27. Averaging 30 and change is the leading scorer in the NBA in the playoffs. Malone came into this game second in scoring. Humphreys will try the 3. And Utah is still without a 3-point field goal in the game. Nice pass, Humphreys down to Benoit with that athletic dunk. He's had a couple of those tonight.
Was that quick? Hakeem was loading up to block that when it was in the basket before he could leave his feet.
Kelly, this is the 3.
Timeout. Timeout on the goal.
And we have a timeout with 9:41 to go in this ball game. Rockets comfortably ahead of the Jazz, 84-68. Game 1, Western Finals. 7 points tonight. He does have 14 rebounds.
Yes, he does. And Felton Spencer, a very solid night, 15 points and 10 rebounds. But when you compare him to Hakeem Olajuwon, 27 points, only 5 rebounds. Robert Horry, 11 rebounds. He only has 6 points in the game, but 11 big rebounds. So he is taking up the slack. And Otis Thorpe is checking into the game. And Bob, you and I talked at halftime. I still don't think he's right. Normally he's very active and bouncy. He's had a hip problem from the Phoenix game 6. Did not play much in game 7. He's 1 for 5 on the night. He has 2 points and 5 rebounds. Now he is working hard against Malone defensively, but I don't think this has been a typical Otis Thorpe evening.
Sam Vassell back to Otis Thorpe. Trouble handling the ball. Utah gets it to Stockton. Blocked by Ellie, but the foul is called by Mike Mathis on Mario Ellie. That'll be his second personal. Both Thorpe and Olajuwon carrying 3 each for the Houston Rockets.
John Stockton tries to go away from the contact. A clean block up above, but I think the hand and the shoulder rode Stockton down, so he will get to the free throw line.
There's a rarity. You won't see that happen very much. 92% free throw shooter in the playoffs.
And John Stockton had 10 points at half. This is only his first point of the second half. He's only attempted 2 shots, 5 for 11 now in the evening, and they've really gone to Hornacek in the second half. He's been 6 for 7. goes on, Jerry Sloan's going to have a real decision to make. I don't think Tom Chambers can guard Olajuwon without maybe double or triple team help.
Malone may have to play him.
Right, and then you worry about him getting in foul trouble. Now you say, well, he played David Robinson and some of those guys, yes. But they play out on the floor more, and he can strip them as they take the ball up. Olajuwon is a back-to-the-basket player, and Malone cannot handle him. So he's going to have a very serious problem, Jerry Sloan, thinking about matchups now as the series goes on.
Illegal defense to call. We talked to Jerry today. He says he did not want to play Karl Malone on Olajuwon. I mean, it's just almost as a last resort. So there goes Chambers out. He has to get Felton Spencer back in the game.
Well, you can't dig yourself any more of a hole. You're down 15, about 8:44 to go. So right now you're going to have to get some defensive stops, and you're going to have to get some baskets, and hope that you can climb back into this game, and maybe the Rockets will miss some three-point shots. But, you know, Olajuwon right now, he's got it going so much. That ball banked off the glass.
All 9 of Houston's points this quarter have been scored by the Dream. Almost blocked that one. 15-point lead by the Rockets with 8:16 to go. Utah is hanging in close enough to make a run here and cut this thing down to single digits with 8 minutes to go.
They can't keep trading, though. They've got to get some stops, and they got to hope maybe some outside shots won't go because this man's not missing right now.
This is what LA has the set shot.
That's what they got to hope, though, but they're going to start missing.
And not a good offensive rebounding team, but Thorpe comes away with it. Maxwell.
That's what they'll do. They'll go cold from the perimeter. Utah's not going to go away from the game plan. They're going to make them miss.
Stockton's pull-up jumper hits the front edge of the rim.
Yep.
7:32 to go. I just don't see the comeback legs in the Utah Jazz. They'll have a day off here tomorrow. They'll play again on Wednesday night at 9 Eastern time. We'll have it for you on TNT. Tomorrow night, Knicks Pacers at 8 Eastern time.
See, Houston pitched their last 6 pointers now. After being 8 for 12, they're now 8 for 18.
Tyrone Corbin, trouble with the Stockton pass. He'll take the shot anyway and miss it.
That was out of rhythm. No place to go with that. Corbin just had not had a shot for a while, so he looked to take one. Bob, I think your observation is good. Houston can only lose this game tonight. And what I mean by that is I don't think Utah has enough freshness in them to be able to steal this game and win. I think Houston has to cough it up.
Cassell coughed that one up. But then you see the interior defense. They have to get it out to Humphries for the long-range off-balance jump shot. There again, Utah had the ball off the steal, down inside the paint. The fresh legs, apparently appearing fresh legs, back for the post defense on the part of Houston. Timeout on the floor. The Dream is resting. The Jazz 9, Olajuwon 9 in this quarter. Kenny Smith with 5 3-pointers, but Jay Humphries is doing everything he can to deny that 6th 3-pointer. And there is Thorpe showing some quickness down on the baseline.
That was a great pass by Kenny Smith. They ran screen roll. They were very patient with it. The only pass that could get through there is a bounce pass, and he makes it beautifully to Otis Thorpe. That's a great play. Reward your power forward who's doing a solid job against Karl Malone tonight. Let's get him a layup and give him a chance maybe for a 3-point play.
Malone with his 16th rebound of the night. Rockets by 17 points. Hornacek looking for Karl Malone. That pull-up jumper will go, and Malone's got 15 in the game, 7 for 17.
Yeah, you just said it, though. 7 field goals, only 1 free throw, so they're not putting him on the line. So the game is not stopping, so the tempo now favors Houston because the game is not stopping and Malone's not shooting a lot of free throws.
Stockton back into the game for Utah, 13 on the shot clock. Humphries will sit down.
See, on the season, Malone shot 736 free throws, so you're talking about 9 free throws a night. Tonight, only 1.
There's the screen and roll.
Same play. Why not? Make them stop it.
And the foul again.
See, I think this is smart, too, from Rudy T's standpoint. Otis Thorpe has been a little bit low energy. He's not been feeling well with his hip and all. Go to him. Let the guy get off a little bit with his offense. You know, now he has back-to-back baskets. You know, Rudy T, a former offensive player, understands that. You know, you get a chance to get a few baskets, maybe it picks up your level of defense.
Stockton thought about the three, but Ellie jumped right out in his face. Inside to Hornacek from Karl Malone. 5:35 remaining in this ball game. 92-77 Houston. Rudy Tomjanovich said his Rockets learned a very painful but very important lesson in losing 2 at home with big leads to Phoenix. Another illegal defense in the first 2 games of that last series. Along with Doug Collins, it's Bob Neal from the Summit. This is Game 1, Western Conference Finals. Both these teams took 7 games to advance to this point. We talked at the beginning. Doug said he thought the Jazz fatigue might be worse than Houston's. Houston being at home and the Jazz having to make this travel trip, both teams playing on the weekend. And it's appeared to be that way tonight as the Rockets, behind the three-point shooting of Kenny Smith and the interior scoring of Akeem Olajuwon, have built a 93-77 lead.
When you look at the Utah Jazz, they have 5 guys in double figures. All their starters, their bench players, only 11 points. 5 for Humphries, 4 for Corbin, and 2 for Chambers. So the starters have gotten it done. That the bench is not giving them much help. And then you have only 3 guys in double figures for the Rockets, with 31 for Olajuwon, 24 for Kenny Smith.
3-on-1. Karl Malone from Jeff Hornacek, and the mailman has 17.
It's amazing. As poorly as he was shooting, he's now 8 for 18, so he's very close to approaching 50%.
You said he might get 15 of 30 or something for 50%. It's going to be right there. Tip back in. Who got that, Ellie?
I think it's Mario Ellie. Well, you got to love what he brings. He struggled the first 2 games of the Phoenix series. Then he started taking the ball to the basket. And he and Cassell, I thought, were the real differences in them being here tonight and knocking Phoenix out.
Hornacek looking for Malone down on the block. Malone had hit his last 6. He'll give Corbin the chance here. Left alone, Corbin with the jumper from the corner, and it's 95-81. Rockets by 14, 4:14 to go. Tomjanovich is going to get the dream back in here in just a moment. Kenny Smith with 7 on the shot clock. He's going to take another 3.
That's 6! Bob, that ball is that's a trolley wire. I mean, that thing is a line drive. You could hang our clothes out on that thing. I don't know how it goes in, but it does.
Houston 10 of 21 from three-point line. Hornacek unmolested with the left-handed lay-in. 3:39 to go. Rockets are not going to give up this game tonight. The love affair with the Rockets is back on with the fans of this city. It was on the rocks at the beginning of that Phoenix series.
Boom!
Kenny Smith knows probably that the record is 8. He has 6. Tyrone Corbin, defended by Ellie. The defense has been just excellent tonight from the part of the Houston Rockets. It's a part of their team that's really, I think, underrated is the defense. Everybody talks about Olajuwon and his blocked shots, but they play perimeter defense. The guards match up one-on-one well. They trap well.
See, the thing I think that Houston has is they have enough guys coming off the bench that Rudy T, when certain guys aren't doing it, can substitute. Tonight, Kenny Smith's getting it done. He got 27 points. Cassell came in, had a big second quarter, 9 points, 7 assists. Maxwell's been quiet. He's got 11 points. So what he's got is versatility. Now he's got Ellie coming off the bench with 8 points. So he can mix and match those 4 or 5 players. Now you have Ori, who can match to a bigger player on the perimeter. You have Thorpe, and you have Olajuwon. I think their one weakness, and it might cost them a championship, is do they have a backup power player that if something happens to Thorpe or Olajuwon and they get in foul trouble, do they have someone that can come in and play against a frontline center?
Utah about to go down 0 for 1. You see it in the face of Jay Humphries. Spencer couldn't handle the pass that was entered into him there. And that's a big jam from Ellie. Mario Ellie has 10 off the bench. Cassell 9. They're kind of bellwethers for this team. 9 for Cassell all came in that second period. Malone is fouled, and a timeout is called with 4:52 remaining in this game, and the Rockets have scored 100. 100-83, Houston. In spurts from Cassell and Ellie, and this is just the beginning of conference final week on TNT. Tomorrow night, Pacers-Knicks at 8. Our games will be at 9 Eastern time here with the Jazz and the Rockets, and the 2 Pacers-Knicks games on Tuesday and Thursday will be at 8 Eastern time.
Bob, I mean, how are you going to beat this Rocket team tonight? Olajuwon has got 31, 12 for 19 shooting. 3-point shooting, 10 for 22. Utah has none, so plus 30 from the 3-point line. So inside 31, outside 30 from the 3-point line. That's a pretty tough combination. Then you come off the bench. We talked about Cassell and Ellie tonight, 9 points, 7 assists, and Ellie with 10 points. They win the battle of the bench tonight. Everything working for Houston, but we got to remember now, in the first playoff series, San Antonio demolished, annihilated this Utah Jazz team, and Utah came back and stole game 2. So I think you're going to see a Utah team have a chance maybe to get some rest and come back with a little bit more energy and a little more purpose. And I don't expect Houston to shoot the 3-point shot on Wednesday night like they shot it tonight.
Malone with 18 points to go with his 16 rebounds. He struggled mightily early in this ball game. Unquestionably had the rubbery legs to begin. But the Rockets now lead by 16 with 2:46 to go.
I tell you what, I would love to in my career have rubbery legs and had 18 points and 16 rebounds.
And have the announcer saying, boy, he looks tired.
Boy, I was bouncy and couldn't get that.
Kenny Smith. Thorpe. 2 seconds on the shot clock.
They're trying to gain the record, I think.
That would have counted. And Hornacek gets the lay-in, but it's all over but garbage time now. You know, as we talked to both the coaches, Jerry Sloan and Rudy Tomjanovich today, and as everybody knows about these games, these 7-game series, particularly in the conference finals, game 1 is a feel-it-out game. Show me what you got. I'll take a look at it. We'll adjust, and then game 2 is often one of the 2 pivotal games in the playoffs.
Well, it's important as we see LA loading up to 3. It's important to want to win all your games at home, but you know you can get away a little bit more with losing one of the first 2 in a 7-game series as opposed to a 5. In a 5-game series, you might not get back home.
Stockton missing on the lay-in. Olajuwon with the rebound. A minute 35 to go.
John Stockton in the second half after being 5 for 9 in the first half, 0 for 4. Now Hornacek 0 for 5 in the first half. He finishes 9 of 10, and Malone after going 2 for 9 finishes 8 for 18, so he's 6 for 9. So the 2 big guns did get their offense back in the second half.
Corbin hits the floor hard on that fast break. Malone lays it in from Stockton. Minute 13 to go. It's Rockets by 12. It's going to look a lot closer than it was. Shoot it, Kenny. Stockton out here defending him way out in the corner.
So Utah did a better job in the second half taking care of the basketball, too. Only turned it over 4 times after 12, which is more typical of what kind of team they are. Jerry Sloan deciding enough is enough, going to get his starters out of the ball game, realizing that Wednesday night is another night, and they've just come off a tough series, hoping they maybe can watch some film and regroup and maybe cool Houston down from the 3-point line.
Benoit with a rebound. John Crotty out of Virginia handling the ball. He gave some good minutes to Utah in the Denver series. Benoit missing from long range, and here comes Ellie. Also Brian Russell in the game. seconds. Kenny Smith, 5 assists, 27 points, 6 3-pointers. He's been the man tonight, along with Hakeem Olajuwon for Houston. That was after the shot clock had expired with 21 seconds to go. The Rockets may only win this by 10 or even 8 points, but it was not that close.
Well, they're
dialing in late.
They're 22-3 during the regular season when they hold their opponents under 90 points. They're sitting on 88 right now.
Benoit trying to keep it alive, but Thorpe comes away with it, and that'll end the ball game. Smith, take the 3. And he thinks, no, I've to play these people 7 games.
Smart move. That would be on the highlight film tomorrow during the Utah film session.
Exactly. Smart move by Pratt. That may be one of his smarter moves. Final score, Houston 100, Utah 88. And Kenny Smith has been the man here tonight as he stepped up to knock down some big threes in this game. 6 of them, as a matter of fact, to tie the Houston playoff three-point record. And the North Carolina man is going to join us here court